What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham Jason Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the Survivor Series 2020 installment of WWE The Day Of. These episodes are always great. This one specifically, and it had to, focus on the final farewell of The Undertaker, a great behind-the-scenes look at The Undertaker's presumably final night in WWE as an active performer. Before he went out, cut the promo, had all the legends out there, at least before he came out. The promo from Vince, the elaborate video package and entrance, blah, blah, blah. So again, like I said, this episode of WWE The Day Of could not have been about anything else than the final farewell from The Undertaker. I thought Survivor Series was a good show overall. The Raw and SmackDown stuff meant absolutely nothing. So it was only fitting that this episode revolved entirely around The Undertaker, as it should have. We hear from a variety of superstars on this episode, including Kane, Godfather, Mick Foley, Triple H, so many other people, Booker T. We'll get to all of them momentarily. Kane says that Undertaker's final farewell is very bittersweet, as he's a close friend of his, and he's happy that he has closure, but he also doesn't want to see him go. Rikishi, he said, was very excited to get that phone call to be at the pay-per-view. Mick Foley got that same phone call, he said, to be at Survivor Series. He declined it initially, because that same day was his wife's birthday. He told his wife about it, and his wife was like, "You're going to call them up right now and tell them you'll be there, because you know how much that man meant to your career." And she's absolutely right. She is absolutely right. And Foley even brought up how he always knew, Taker that is, he always knew when to change things up whenever things got stale or present a new character. That was Taker. He was the king of longevity. And Godfather says the same thing. He talks about Taker's longevity. Shawn Michaels brings up how he exceeded expectations. No one would have ever thought early on that Taker would have been around for as long as he has. Taker was around for 30 years, from 1990 to 2020, and Shawn Michaels was there from the very beginning. He was there even before Taker in WWE, so he knows all about the early expectations for The Undertaker. We hear from Savio Vega, who said it was an honor to be there, and we haven't seen or heard from Savio Vega on a WWE sanctioned show in probably 20 years or something like that. He recalls Taker's epic entrance, and how it was always cool to see it firsthand at the WWE shows. They were very happy to get the backstage crew, the BSK, back together for this one night. We see him meet up with Tim White, who was a big part of Taker's career in terms of refereeing matches, including the Mick Foley Hell in a Cell match from King of the Ring 1998. And White was also very excited to be there. We hear from the Godwins. One of them, which I had no idea, honestly. I'm not very familiar at all with the Godwins. But I completely forgot that one of them was Midian. Naked Midian, whatever the fuck. But yeah, one of them was Midian. I did not know that. So he said that he would take being there over the Hall of Fame. He's like, I'm not in the Hall of Fame. I probably never will be in the Hall of Fame, but I would take being here for this one night for The Undertaker's final farewell over being inside the WWE Hall of Fame. I guess he said his last match in WWE, the first time he had been there in like 15 years. His last match was a tryout for MVP Montel Vontavious Porter back in 2006, which is crazy. Triple H feels that Taker is finally content with a closure, and he's happy for him for that. Michael Cole talks about calling all of his matches and the bond they formed over the years, and how they would always do this like running gag where they would do like backstage promos, and Taker would always say, "Oh, the privilege for you to be in this city has been revoked," or something like that. And they've always been really close over the years ever since that started. We hear from Shane McMahon, who called it a very special thing to be able to share the ring with the dead man. We hear from Jeff Hardy, who talked about wanting to wear a Taker symbol on his face and the face paint. He saw it on the wall, and he was like, I got to do that as face paint, and then he did, and it looked awesome when he came out for that final farewell at the end of the show. Godfather said that the backstage crew, they were just a bunch of guys that like to hang out at TV together and occasionally go out and play poker after the shows and stuff like that. They had a shared love for the sport, and they became a very close-knit group. He said that he also gave him a skull chain beforehand, and how they would always trade things back and forth and never give them back, but he really wanted Taker to keep that because, it was his last night in WWE. Again, that's what it was billed as. It was a very special night for him, and they wanted to give him something to remember, the night by. A very fitting gesture, considering the chain was a skull chain, and he's the dead man after all. So anyway, we hear from Kane, who said that Taker changed his career, he changed his life, which is true. We hear from Booker T, who was also there as part of the Legends, and he said that he was very happy to be able to see everyone. Ric Flair said that Taker was responsible for revitalizing his own career at WrestleMania 18, and that they had instant chemistry from the moment they locked up on that show. And that's when they recap the whole, final farewell, and they kind of recap all the Legends coming out, Vince's promo, Taker's promo, And they kind of re-show everything from the pay-per-view, but from different angles and how much each person in that ring meant to Taker's career and vice versa. It was really cool, so it was kind of a replay of the final farewell, but from a different standpoint, which I thought was cool. We see Taker preparing backstage before he went out, which was awesome. Godfather said that he was always destined to be who he is to this day. Triple H says that he doesn't think that there's ever going to be anyone ever like The Undertaker. That was a mouthful. But he doesn't think that there's ever going to be like another Undertaker in WWE. And we also hear from Ric Flair, who says that he thinks that Taker's going to be remembered forever. So no newsworthy nuggets on this episode. Just a very feel-good edition of WWE The Day Of. And they're always great. I thought the Edge one with Backlash was really good, and all the ones that have come since then. Especially these story, like specific, these episodes that are tailored to specific superstars. I like that a lot. Specifically this one because it was such a grand occasion with it being the final farewell of The Undertaker, so it only made sense. I thought it was really, really well done, and it was a good episode overall. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could think of worse ways to spend 20 minutes. It's only 20 minutes, so definitely check it out on the WWE Network, especially if you're a big fan of The Phenom. You're going to want to see the behind-the-scenes footage of Taker's, again, final farewell, as they're calling it, from WWE at Survivor Series. So check it out right now on the network, WWE The Day Of, Survivor Series 2020. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out the video. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit that bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. Check out the description box down below for more WWE The Day Of reviews dating back to last summer with the Raw Reunion review. Also available on the network in every episode that's come out since then. They do great work over at WWE Documentaries. And that's about it. Have a great rest of your week/weekend, guys. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.